Hello, and welcome back to Female Finance Collective. I am really excited about this episode because what we're going to talk about, even though it directly relates to finances, because obviously that's what we're all about, it also applies to other things in life too. So I'm hoping that elements that we share will resonate with everybody and you'll feel motivated and ready to kind of put this next plan or system into place, which is what we're going to talk about today, systems.
Welcome to the Female Finance Collective podcast, where we encourage women to have open and honest conversations about all things money.
I'm Jen, and I struggled for many years with debt and feeling financially overwhelmed, so I know how frustrating it can be.
And I'm Mary Lee. As a financial planner, I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of women who've transformed their financial lives.
Hey, I'm Sybil. I built my dream life traveling the world and creating financial freedom on a teacher's salary.
Let's start the money conversation. So last week we said, hey, you've been tracking, great job, now what, right? And we gave you some action steps to take. And I think sometimes when we create action steps that we want to follow, whether it's regarding our health or our finances or anything that we're working on, we often, well, I shouldn't say often and we, that's a big assumption for a lot of people. But I know that a lot of times we can be hesitant to putting in place a system, right? That feels too rigid, too structured. I don't want a system. I just want to do it, right? And I know that I've been that person many, many times. I'm just going to use my motivation and I'm going to make this happen. And I resist creating a plan or a system or a schedule that I'm going to follow to achieve that goal. But when it comes to finances, we really think that having a system in place is the key to success. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to give you 3 reasons why we think a system when it comes to your finances is really going to get you on the path to success and help you build on all of the pieces that you're putting in place.
Absolutely. So we're going to share with you 3 ways that systems help you to keep going. Okay. And a little bit of our own stories behind those things. So the first one is that the reality is, how sad it is, but willpower is a limited resource. Okay. I know this from my own money tracking and management. I'm getting going, I'm reflecting, I'm doing all of those things, I'm reallocating, and it's so good. Like I'm so motivated, and I genuinely am. And that willpower is there. I'm excited, I keep going. And then all of a sudden I look and I'm like, what happened? Oh, I got super busy with work. Oh, I went on vacation. Oh, I'm just really tired because whatever's going on, in my life. And all of a sudden I realized because I didn't have like a system meaning money dates in my calendar, or on the last day of the month, I'm always going to do my reflection and allocation, right? I realized, oh no, it all kind of fell apart and I haven't paid attention to it in a while. So when we're stressed, when we're tired, when we're overwhelmed, our willpower disappears. And so if we have a system in place, it allows us to make these good decisions to keep going automatic because, oh, it's there in our calendar. I'm going to execute what I put into my calendar today. And even if I'm having a hard day, the system keeps me going. I don't have to depend on my willpower, right?
Right. And I think too, something that I have found to be really helpful for me is I have these things scheduled, I have this system in place, and then I also have little mini rules that I set for myself. And I don't mean rules like to make it more rigid, I mean rules to make it more flexible. So hey, if I can't do it on the last day of the month, then I commit to doing it within the next 2 days or, something like that. So that I feel like, oh shoot, I'm on vacation the last day of the month. Oh well, I guess I won't do it. But then my brain is like, nope, this is your plan. This is when you actually do it. We do that with exercising at our house. It's like we had these days that we were going to do it, and then we were just flying by the seat of our pants. And now we've on Sunday, we look at our calendars and we're like, who's walking the dogs this day? Who's gonna work out? Who's committed to these different things? And that has really helped us. It's flexibility to review it every week, but it's still a system that we're going to do it.
Yeah. And that commitment is that piece that's so crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're right. Willpower is so good. it's like January 1st when people set goals
Yes.
for the new year or set those resolutions. And then January 15th, you're like, man, I'm tired. This month is really killing me. And then
It
it's
falls off.
easy to just fall apart. So putting the system in place is really, really important because your willpower will run out for all of us, right?
Yep.
And so that takes us to the second step. So we're talking about, or the second point, I guess. The first one is that your willpower, it's not going to last forever. Nobody's perfect. It's going to happen. The second one is that putting a system in place protects your goals. So usually when we set a goal, it's because it's really important to us. I want to pay off my debt. I want to have $10,000 in savings for emergencies or, whatever it is. We set these goals because we value them. There's something that's really important to us. And putting a system in place protects that goal. If we're just, again, willy nilly and flying by the seat of our pants, and we're not thoughtful about when we're going to check in on our finances, when we're going to review our spending, when we're going to think about that reallocation and how we're putting extra money towards our goals, it's easy to forget and it's easy to just let months go by, just like you were saying with your business expenses, Sybil. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing great, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 months, we forgot to transfer our extra savings because our goal was to like review and take any extra at the end of the month and transfer it. Well, we haven't done that for 3 months because we didn't have like a date set up to do it.
Exactly.
So it having the system in place protects those goals.
For sure. So we've talked about willpower being a limited resource, so we need a system instead. Protecting our goals through that system. And then our third point is systems build momentum. And momentum is really key to keep us going, right? That's the whole objective in this podcast today, is to talk about how a system helps us keep going. And so momentum really helps us keep going because the small wins really add up with our money, really all aspects of life. But with our money, if we can keep going and we have this momentum, we can see the progress faster. We can stay motivated longer. We can keep that willpower for longer, right? And it really just keeps us going because motivation is such an important part of all of managing our finances, because Jen, it never stops. No matter what stage you are
Right.
at in your wealth building journey, it never stops. And so that momentum system provides you is really, really important. And I've seen it firsthand jumping back in. Like, yes, I can do this. I'm motivated to keep going again. I'm motivated to put it in my calendar and not stop my system. Because if we can get a little bit better every day and spend a little bit less or make a little more or invest a little bit more, oh my gosh, when you do that, annual reflection, you can really see like that momentum kept going. It kept adding up.
That's right. So when you were talking, it reminded me of something. So sometimes people will comment on my little videos and reels or posts or whatever, and they'll say things like, not buying coffee doesn't make you a millionaire. Asking for a $20,000 raise does. That was a literal one comment I got not too long ago. And I had so many feelings about it. It was really hard for me to I did write a short reply, but I had so many feelings about that because most of us don't have the ability to go and ask for a $20,000 raise, right? Most of us can't make this huge financial move in a moment. We don't have that ability. There are people who do. Absolutely. There are people who can be like, you know what? I'm going to move to a better job or a higher paying job. I'm going to ask for this big raise, or I'm going to sell something that I own and I'm going to take that money and like invest it. I'm going to make this huge financial move. But most of us don't have that ability. But
Or
what
we
we
need to plan for those big
That's
things,
right. Or
right?
we need more time to plan
Yeah.
for it. But what we do have the ability to do is control the small things. And no, skipping coffee once a month is not going to make you wealthy. And also if you love that and it brings you joy, Sybil and I and Mary Lee, we're not about giving up all the joyful things in your life, right? But if I'm reviewing my finances on a regular basis and I have this system in place, and I'm just using coffee as an example because I feel like it's what always comes up, right? But you can insert whatever little thing it is for you. But if I look and I'm like, I am spending, $8 a day every day on my way to work at the coffee shop. And then that's $160 a month. And then I think, gosh, you know what? I could cut back to 100 a month. I could take that 60 and put it toward my debt, or take that 60 and put it in savings. In 5 years, that's a huge deal. In
Yeah,
five
because now you
years,
got compound interest
that's
working
right.
for.
So putting this system in place gives you power to see what's happening and make changes in the moment that matter. No, skipping coffee one day isn't going to matter, right? But looking at those little things and making those conscious choices and making those changes, that's where the power lies. And if you have a system in place, you're much more likely to find those small changes, make the changes, follow through with them, and then get closer to your goals. And that's why systems are important. That's why sticking with this to us, and we hope to you, is so valuable. It makes all the difference.
Yeah, and it's what we've done because you realize when you give up something like, let's say, coffee is your thing, and you do buy a nice machine, you buy a good coffee ground, you realize how much cheaper it is to do it at home, for example. You start to see the next area. Once you've like kind of conquered that one, you're like, oh, maybe I don't need X number of cloves every month. Maybe I don't need to dine out as much, right? And you start looking at this because you become very motivated and you have that momentum and you have those goals to spend where your values are. And so it might start with coffee. But where that goes, that little bit over time every day, is most likely much bigger than that. And even if it's just the coffee over 5 years, 10 years, right? We're talking about our lives here, people. Like that's
That's
what
right.
we have to start to conceptualize is we're not talking about 1 month at a time. It might take 3 months to build the new habit, but then we're talking about 5, 10 years of savings and not spending in that area, right?
Right.
And that's where we really start to see the progress. And so this episode's all been about designing systems that work for you and your finances to help you keep going and why they keep going, right? Why systems help us. And that's really because your willpower is a limited resource. It runs out. Systems protect your goals and systems help you build momentum. They keep you going over time. We got our whole lives in front of us and we can make huge changes. So we're so glad that you've been here with us listening in. We would love for you to start thinking about and putting a system with your finances into place, taking action on this, not relying only on your willpower or motivation. And so be sure to share our podcast with your friends. Thank you so much for listening, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.